Hello, welcome to Maltbox, the non-chill filtered whisky blog. I'm Andy and this is whisky review number 66. What I have for you today is a blended Scotch whisky. That comes in the form of this. The Highland Black 8 from retailer and German supermarket Aldi. So I have reviewed another Aldi whisky previously in the form of the Glenmarnock 28-year-old, which was a fantastic dram. Slightly different in the sense that you can get this all year round. It's always on the shelf. It is also £12.99 a bottle. Very cheap indeed. So I figured we'd look at another supermarket dram, because it's something that is effectively, for a lot of people, is going to be your everyday drinker. Something to have on the shelf, you can pick it up when you go shopping. So, Highland Black, again, there it is. It had a redesign about 6 months ago. If you saw it previously, I think try to remember what it used to look like now. It didn't used to look as snazzy as that. It's got a little stag on it and everything, which shows how Scottish it is. As soon as you put a stag on something, that's it. It's got to be Scottish. Thanks, marketing. So, there's even a tartan pattern behind the 8-year-old as well. There you go. Bottled at 40%. To be honest with you, I've not got a right lot of information for you because it's pretty scarce to find. It is a quite large the batches that are going to go into this are going to be quite large. It is going to be produced. It's not going to be Aldi blending the whisky. Let's get that out of the way. It is going to be a whisky company that are putting this together. As it is a blended Scotch whisky and not a blended malt Scotch whisky, this contains a mixture of both grain and malt whisky. The likelihood is the majority will be grain. So here we go. Colour, it's not going to be natural, let's be honest. If it would be, that would be great, but it doesn't state anywhere on the label, and realistically, for a blended Scotch whisky at this price point in a supermarket, it is going to have colour in it. So there you go. Colour lies with a hint of goldy looking chain. Some nice tears going down the glass there though. I don't know if you can see those on camera. It might just be picking up my ugly mug through the glass. We'll soon see. Onto the nose. Interesting. Initially, there's a little bit of super gluey note to it, but that very, very quickly goes. You've then got some nice lemon zest, you've got toffee, you've got quite a flintiness, as I would describe it, so think of like when you're on the beach, and not like a pebbly beach as such, but I suppose it is like flint. I know it sounds stupid, but like wet flint. At the same time, you've got a very fresh note in there. So think about like underripe plums, like green gage or something like that, something quite like a sour jam maybe. And behind that, you do have a little touch of smoke, and that smoke is not as smoky or as peaty as an Islay whiskey. Again, let's get that out of the way. It is just providing that little bit of depth, that little bit of richness to it. And I think, whilst yes, there is definitely still some, what you might describe as unrefined, grainy notes in the background, it does very well to bring those in line, along with the rest of the flavours that I've got on there so far. And first nosing, in previous reviews I reviewed, it's down there, Grant's. It's already a step above that on the nose, in my humble opinion. Trying to think what else we reviewed. Was it White Mackay 13? Similar in a way to it, a little bit fresher, a little bit smokier at the same time. There's certainly some spice in there. There's also, it is a little bit wood influenced as well, you know, I mean, there's definitely something in there that's quite woody. Can't tell you what. Overall, very pleasant nose. Onto the palate. Sweet. There is some smoke there as well, as I mentioned on the nose. There's toffee. Slight nuttiness to it as well. A little bit of honey as well now that's in there. Yeah, there is a little bit of that graininess, but what it's adding is some really nice notes of vanilla just going into the finish now. I'm getting some strawberry jam or raspberry jam. Something quite sweet and deep and sugary like that. Chocolate, milk chocolate mainly. And again, it's working really nicely with that little, I'm not going to call it a backbone of smoke, but it's certainly in there. It's certainly one of the instruments of the orchestra that is just doing its part and is providing this nice depth, that nice richness, and it is binding a lot of those flavours together. Finish, do you know, it's short to medium, slightly warming. Those milk chocolate notes that I mentioned alongside what is now becoming a little bit bitter is pretty much what you're going to see there. I'm not going to water this down, by the way. I know I do tend to add water to my whiskey in these reviews. However, given this is bottled at 40%, I have tried it with water previously, and in my opinion, does not benefit from it at all. It's just how it is that's all I'm going to do, basically. Let's put it that way. I do use this actually in cocktails, whiskey cocktails. This is a great little whiskey to pick up if you drink those, for example. I personally use this in a rusty nail alongside some Drambuie or Drambuie 15. Works really well. And to be honest with you, when you're mixing it with other things, something particularly as sweet and syrupy as Drambuie, which, don't get me wrong, that's the whole point of the rusty nail cocktail, you don't want anything too complex or too expensive, because at the end of the day, the majority of those flavours and things are just going to get lost. However, something like this, £13 whiskey from your supermarket, will do the job nicely. And do you know what? I've tried Tesco's own blended Scotch whisky, I've tried Asda's, I've tried Sainsbury's, I've tried Co-ops. Co-ops used to be pretty good, not so good nowadays. In my opinion, this is much better than those, and it costs, I think Tesco's own is about 18, 19 quid, 20 quid or something like that, I can't remember off the top of my head, but £12.99, kind of wrong. And on that note, in terms of score, I'm going to give the Highland Black an 80 out of 100. It's just a very traditional, straight up, honest, simple, blended Scotch whisky. Does the job. Nice sipping whisky, great in cocktails. Next time you're in Aldi, maybe check it out. Thanks for watching. See you soon.